Hello. Today in this video, we're going to learn how to use FactoryBot and Faker with our stir clients to send API requests with payloads, JSON payloads. And we're going to be using, again, the Postman Echo endpoint to do so. So cool. First thing we need to get FactoryBot going is, of course, the gem. So in the gem file, we have to put gem FactoryBot. Once that is done, in the directory, your project directory, run bundle install to make sure you have the FactoryBot gem. I've also added another directory called support with a file in it called env.rb. This file you can think of as an initializer file of sorts. It's not exactly what it does, but for this simple project, it's going to do the job of setting up FactoryBot's paths, definitions, and doing some including for us. So yeah, these 3 lines take care of that. You can actually reference this inside the FactoryBot getting started. It tells you the lines of code you need in here. It doesn't have them in the order I show them here anywhere, but this is from my reading of their docs found what we need. The first is this definition file path call. I'm placing my factories under a directory, the services directory, in a factories directory, which you can see right here. So that path you set yourself. And that's set under this project root global variable, which I have set up at the top here. And this is just using Ruby's core method file class, core class called file, to just join up a string, creating the root path. And from there, you can use this project root variable to define paths all over the place. Pretty useful in here. For right now, that's all it's doing. And then we have FactoryBot find definitions. So FactoryBot goes down this file path, finds the definitions, and defines the factories there. This makes available the FactoryBot syntax methods. There's a couple methods it'll add into your scripts: build list, and also create and create list. Build is the only one, the main one we're going to be using today. It's just going to build up an object. So yeah, those are the 2 things I have added. Here's the factory file. Up here is the actual factory definition. We're calling our factory poster in this case. It's just going to post some data to Postman. Yeah, factory also needs to take in a model class. You can define that class explicitly like this. However, in this case, it's a simple name, just call it poster. If you name it, the class name the same, FactoryBot will actually find it for you. And so that's what I've done down here, this model. Normally, in an object-oriented method, you would actually have this class in a separate file, probably even in a separate directory. But for this demonstration purposes, we'll just have it inside here, and so we can see what goes on with those. Okay. So we'll send FactoryBot just a phone number at first. And we won't make a random phone number or anything. We'll just use this number. Okay. And now we go down to our Ruby class, which will actually do the job of structuring this phone number. So this is a plain Ruby class. It has a single method in it called JSON data. And inside this method is just an empty hash is what this is. And we have adder accessor. In it we've put phone number for now just to match this value up here. Adder accessor just makes a getter and setter method for the instance variable of the symbol you give it, in this case phone number. And you'll see why in just a second. So when we send phone number, we're going to actually send it snake case to the API. And that is just now equal to instance variable phone number. So yeah, that's what that does. This hash also gets serialized to JSON once it's put together. That's what this method will do. It'll return a hash of JSON. It'll return a hash that has been serialized into JSON based on the values given to it from this factory. So a pretty simple idea. And it's in this that we eventually will find ways to structure more complicated JSON data when needed. But for right now, we're just going to do a simple, a couple values in here. So with all this, we should be ready to instance this factory and actually get some JSON going. So let's go ahead and see about that. Inside our step file, I've already put a breakpoint in a binding.pry. So the script will run up to here, and then we should be able to instance our factory from there. So running the script now. All right. And we'll use the method name that we were talking about. And we give it the symbol for the factory name, in this case, poster. Oops. Very simple syntax there. So yeah, so the variable A now is storing the object that the FactoryBot made for us. And you can see it's giving us back the phone number that we put in. Now if we call that method that we defined there, the JSON data method, we'll see it return a serialized, say, JSON screen for us. So this is ready to send to an API we want to. Quick look at the Postman Echo endpoint. So it is /post. And we can also send it headers with the type that we want. So let's go ahead and go to our stir client and set that up. So we talked briefly about how to do some of this. And the headers already here actually has, underneath headers, I have the content type application JSON. So yeah, I already have that. And you'll see when we instance the stir client, in fact, we can actually do that now. Yeah, you can see under the headers, we have content type application JSON. So yeah, we have that. Let's go ahead and set up the endpoint in there. And this is going to be a post request. So in our stir client, we put in post. We're going to call this postman, or just post echo. And it was simply /post. That was the endpoint for that. Okay, so now our stir client is ready to accept, or has that endpoint defined. We'll exit and we'll rerun the script again. We'll set our object to A, our factory object. Okay. Post echo. Oops. We're going to send that to hash. The hash has a key body along with the object you're sending. And we're not just going to send A. If we were to send that, it would error. You get this undefined byte size method. It's looking for like a string, sorry. So that's why we give it the JSON data. And there we go. And it actually came back with this JSON phone number, this. Cool. Now we can also see in Postman client response we have here. And we can actually start to code out how we would get to that actual value. So this is just some plain Ruby syntax, as in most programming languages. Postman.client gives back a hash, and you can parse it down just by putting the key in brackets, as you would with an array or list in most programming languages, and then just referencing the key in that. It would work the same with the index number too. But anyways, we can see we can parse into it like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and making out our test scripts. And we've already done a lot of the work actually inside Pry, so we know all this works. So we'll have the post message. Let's just call it post message. Is going to equal this here. And then what we'll do after this, I'll do post echo. Body will be post message on data. Get rid of this for now. Actually, no, this should still work. Yeah. Okay, so we're doing this and this. So now we're going to also see how we can use stir as well to parse this down. So in our expectation, what we can do is write expect, and then we could say app postman client.response, JSON phone number, and then whatever else at that point it should be for us. But sometimes you even have to do more things. So we're going to use a client to actually clean up some of this code for us. So inside our postman client, we'll define a response here. A little response method, and we'll call this we'll call it phone. I guess that's the one that makes the most sense for now, so we'll just call it phone. Yeah. And we've already seen the code for that is JSON, and then we give it the next key, phone number, and that gives us that. So now in our client, we'll be able to call this method and get that value back without having to do all this. So I'm going to test this out and see if I can write a nice, neat expectation inside of here. Oops, spell this right. So now, when I get to my breakpoint, I should already have sent the request up, and we'll have something in the response. Okay, so it's here. Okay, and it sure does. And we call that postman phone. There we go. So see, we can write this here. Okay, so how would we test this? So if we look at our script and the order that things went, first we built our test data with our factory here. And then here we posted that data to it. And right here, we have the original test data, the original object. So we could write an expectation saying that this response value should equal the original test data that was created actually inside the script itself. So that was created in memory of the test suite. So in that way, it's suitable to test that, to use that to test against your response. So that's what we'll do. So this will be the value here. We're gonna expect this to equal the original value. If we type in post, post message, we can see there, and it has this instance variable here. FactoryBot creates an object that has automatic getter setters or adder accessors. You see here we define one here. This FactoryBot object will have adder accessors for everything automatically, and that's why it has this little instance variable here. So we can actually say post message dot phone number. Oops. And we will get back the value for that object. So yeah, this looks like is how our assertion is going to be. So what we can do is take this, and we can say expect dot to equal post message dot phone number. Yeah, it comes back true. So awesome. We will take this line, here. We're not worried so much about this get request one now, so we'll take that one out. Comment this out as well. Okay, so we'll go ahead and run this. and it passed. Um, this doesn't mean as much now. We're just checking the values, but we could wire it up the same way, you know. Um, we could actually, let's actually see how we do that. So instead of just phone number, let's go ahead and put another attribute on here that we're going to send. And let's just call this one message. We're going to go ahead and set that to nil. And actually, let's design this test so that it must have one in here. So we're going to put this raise in here. So yeah, we've made a raise in here now. And if we go ahead and run this, it should actually error up to that point. So yeah, and we can actually see it came back here. Message data must be supplied. So now let's start to use a little bit more FactoryBot. What you can do with FactoryBot is give it additional arguments telling it what to set those equal to. So I gave it here, message colon message one. This is going to tell it to actually set um, that to that message, sorry, that attribute to this, to this value. It does that automatically in line. So a great tool if you want to, build this, but you don't want it to be whatever random value or whatever it is else you have setting in there. So yeah, we've done that. We also need to set it in our model. So we need to make a field in here as well. And then we also need to make an adder accessor in our class. Okay. And I've also uncommented our breakpoint. So now we can go in there and see how these objects are going to look now. Well, let's do that. Here, post message, and we can see it actually set it to Haya, which was message one, which we're passing in right there. Yeah, awesome. So we can see that it's set to there, and it's set to here. So we hit exit. I'm sorry. We can make an additional assertion in here if we wished to go ahead and assert that as well. Message Haya. And we could follow the same pattern if we wanted to by going into the client, and we could set up some more parsing code here, or if it's more complicated, we could set up more things here as well too, and follow the same pattern where, and again, make another assertion on that. So that's how we go about doing that. Let's take a look at the phone number. So let's say we wanted to not just send it the same phone number each time. And this could go for any field. This could be address, whatever, but we'll just use phone number for now. And we want to send it, different phone numbers, because if you send it the same one each time, that can wind up, masking failures. You're not really covering as much functionality as you could. So there's a lot of advantages to sending semi-random or even just random data for values. So to do that, we're going to use a gem called Faker. And I've actually already have it added in our gem file here. We ran bundle install last time. We can do it again just to be sure. Cool. So yeah, we have Faker. Oops. Go ahead and run this again. Let's go ahead and require Faker. Oh, so it's already in. Never mind. So we have Faker. And I use the ls command here. And it immediately pulls up a list of the class is available to it. And we have one here called phone number. And again, using ls, Faker phone number. ls is a private thing, by the way. And we see we have this method in here, phone number. So we can just say Faker. Oops. And it's the first time instancing that, so it'll take us. There we go. So yeah. So we keep doing this, and we see we get back these, semi-legit, fake-looking phone numbers. So let's go ahead and do that in here. Oops. Okay. Let's go ahead and send another one too. Let's send an address. Um, so, in the Faker address class, I guess this street address. There we go. Yeah. So we use this street address one. Awesome. So we've added a new field, so we need to add, again, an adder accessor to our model. Of course, call this address. And in our hash here. Okay. So let's go ahead and try it again. There we go. Called post echo something here. Phone. Oh, so that's just a phone number. So yeah. But anyways, I thought we had maybe made some more general method to just grab this, but we didn't. We're just grabbing phone number. But no matter. We can see. So address we can see is this one that was produced by Faker. Haya is a value actually being passed in Cucumber. So if we want to change this test value, all we would have to do is change it right up here. Yeah. For this test, it would make sense the way it's worded. But yeah, if there are instances, I'm sure you can imagine, where that would be the case. Very cool. So far, we have an introduction of how to set up a basic factory. A factory does need configurations, which you can use a env.rb file to use. env.rb file is also a good place to maybe put these stir configurations. So later on in further projects, you'll probably see that in here as well. We added post method to our client and saw some post requests. Added some headers to it. And of course, the subject of this video, the factory itself. And this is a pretty simple factory. It takes in 3 values. And in future videos, we'll see how to use additional features of FactoryBot traits and such. And we'll also move this into a separate file, more object-oriented way. But I think it was good to see these two together because they are connected together. And you'll probably most likely see later the syntax like this. And it might be something like poster or model or something like that. That's typically the way to go. These projects get pretty big. You have to find ways to namespace through things. So yeah, we're producing data, and we're also using Faker, a very powerful library to do that with. Here's a Faker documentation here, this Faker thing. A lot of lists of, you can see a lot of things to look at here. Lots of fake looking data, or if you don't like putting in names like, test name, test user. I mean, who likes doing that? Hipster, um, hacker. Yeah, a lot of good stuff Faker has for you to use, and we'll make your test data look, nice and random. There is a lot of very useful stuff in here, as far as using different languages. So you can put names in different languages, or address in different languages, which can catch um, bugs in your API that may not have been exposed before. So very, very useful random data Faker is. So you'll be seeing a lot of that as well. So yeah, thank you very much.